It's okay to follow your dreams and have dreams and go for those, but also follow your success. Some people are so focused on doing the things that they want to do, they don't realize that they're being successful in something that they had never thought they were going to be successful in. And so be okay to follow that success.
You're listening to the Voiceover Casting Corner, a podcast and question and answer session recorded live every month. VCC is brought to you by the Voicecaster. The Voicecaster casts thousands of voices every year across all genres, and we're excited to give you an inside look at the casting process direct from our casting team.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Voiceover Casting Corner. My name is Kelly Moshinsky, and I am the owner and head of casting at the Voicecaster.
My name's Kathryn. I'm the Senior Casting Director here at the Voicecaster.
And that would leave it to me. I'm Tim Friedlander, President Co-Founder of the National Association of Voice Actors, studio owner, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And
Tim wears all the hats.
Yep.
We've got a little background here on Tim. Tim Friedlander is a voice actor and studio owner based in Los Angeles, known for his talent and advocacy within the industry. With a career spanning various facets of voiceover work, Tim has solidified his position as a leading figure in the field. As the president and co-founder of the National Association of Voice Actors, NAVA, Tim has tirelessly championed for artists' rights, embodying a commitment to the betterment of the profession. Tim's voiceover work covers an impressive array of roles across animation, gaming, and television. He is known for his contributions to popular titles such as Hunter x Hunter, One Punch Man, and his portrayal of Longcaster in Ace Combat 7. Additionally, his performance as the English voice of Ares in the Netflix series Record of Ragnarok, and as the English voice of Daigo Dojima in the new Like a Dragon video game series has garnered attention, showcasing his versatility and skill. Tim's talent has been recognized with multiple awards, including the Sovas Voice Arts Award for Best Political Voiceover in 2023, among numerous nominations across various categories. His dedication to excellence and innovation in voice acting is evident in his consistent pursuit of excellence. Operating from his state-of-the-art studio, Soundbox LA, Tim continues to bring his work to audiences everywhere, with his compelling performances and unwavering commitment to his craft. In addition to his artistic endeavors, Tim co-founded NAVA and serves as the co-editor of the Voiceover Resource Guide and has been quoted in such outlets as the LA Times, Wired, the New York Times, and the BBC. Represented by Atlas Talent in Los Angeles and New York, as well as ACM Talent Management in LA and New York, Tim Friedlander remains a driving force in the world of voice acting, leaving an indelible mark on the industry with his talent, passion, and dedication.
There is nobody more dedicated than Tim. That is for sure. It's like Tim, you're everywhere. You're doing everything, and it's like people tell me all the time, like, Kelly, I don't know how you do it all, but Tim, I don't know how. You are literally everywhere. You are fighting for this industry all day, every day in so many different ways, and it's truly incredible. So first of all, I want to thank
Oh, thank you. You're welcome.
for everything that you're doing. Yeah, let's just start with how did you get into the voiceover world? How did you start doing voiceover as an actor? How did you get into all of the things that you're doing?
I have the curse of you have a good voice, you should be in radio, unfortunately. So I actually started in right out of high school. I had a radio show in college, which I absolutely hated. I did not want to be on the radio. Did it for one quarter and I was gone. And that was in the early 90s. And I started training in 96 when I was in Seattle. I come from, my dad's a drama teacher, theater background. I grew up on the stage. My dad's a Shakespeare professor, musician myself. So came from this kind of performing arts background and started studying in 96 in Seattle, and failed because of this idea that, well, you have a good voice, that's all you need. And was stuck in that trap of not allowing myself, not realizing that there was more to it than just the voice. And in all fairness, in the mid 90s, a lot of it was just about the voice, right? We were still in, Don LaFontaine era. We were still in large radio voices. We were still in that type thing. And I had a very stereotypical archetype for that sound. But I didn't really have the performance aspect of it.
Do you remember the moment you realized that you could be a full-time voice actor, that this was something that you wanted to pursue?
I'm not sure I've realized that yet. No. It's a, we but like in all seriousness, like we all, there's this constant struggle to always try and keep doing this. So I don't know that I've ever I kind of knew this was something that I could potentially do. I left for a long time. I struggled for years, and when I say I failed, I couldn't book a job from 96 to 2016. I just couldn't book anything, and I quit voiceover in 2014, went back to grad school, and ended up at a conference. I went to Voice 2014 and met a bunch of people who were failing like I was. And that was where this whole thing started. I said, "Okay, well, let's try this again, and I'm gonna give this one more try." And I went back in the fall of 2014, and by August of 2016, I was working full time. And I had quit all my other jobs and went into full time. So we're going on almost I guess we're going, 9 years, 10 years next year, that I will have been doing this full time, not just as a voice actor, but as kind of just a massive part of the industry. So engineer, producer, director, voice actor, advocate, all of that, the totality of the industry.
That's incredible. And I love that. Like there's such a good lesson in that of like, it's like you come back to it. If you have a passion for it, you come back to it no matter how many times you fail. It's like you have to get 99 no's to get one yes, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
crazy.
Yep.
Do you have a favorite type of voiceover work that you do?
I am the odd person who loves political work. I love the political voiceover stuff. I'll probably be running for office next year. Who knows? Like, the politics has been something because and I don't know exactly why. Part of it is that, like, that my voice lends itself to the political sphere very well. There's still a kind of an archetype and a stereotype in there that I can just lean into the natural sound of my voice. But also because to a certain extent, you're actually doing something with beneficial or supporting something or potentially making change, whether it's, one person hears that ad and decides to vote for that thing or vote against something or whatever. It's always been kind of my little way to try and do something with the thing that I have.
Yeah.
You're always making an impact in every little thing that you do, It's like
Trying.
that's
Trying.
amazing. That's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So, what's one thing you wish every casting director knew about the talent side of things?
I think that all of the casting directors that I know the things that I wish that I would want them to know, but I would say that the thing that I think every voice actor, and I know this is an impossibility because of everything is there, is just some kind of feedback on what they do. We live in a bubble, sometimes literally not even seeing our friends or having anybody else hear what we do, and you have absolutely no idea. And we all know as artists, if you don't get something, the first thing you're going to do is go to the negative part of that. And we talk about this. I try and give people this idea of it's selection, not rejection. That from the casting side of things, I haven't done a huge amount of casting, but I've helped with projects, and very rarely do you go, "No, no, no, no." You go, "Okay, yeah, possibly, possibly, possibly. Oh, that's the one right there. There's something in that one that I hear." And it's not that the other ones were terrible or they are bad. And there are some that are just unusable. Like, you've got somebody who has, they're recording in their car with the car running. They've got dogs in the background, especially in this day now where we know we have to record from home. There are just some things that are not going to work, or whatever you ask for, for it's a male role and a female sounding talent submits for it that is very specifically not what was asked for, whatever. Anyway, all those theoreticals, but just this, even if it is just and I know the scale at which casting directors work. I know the scale at which you all work, of just a, "Hey, great read, thanks for submitting," something like that. But I know from somebody who is trying to handle 5 million emails a day that though that little thing for 600 or 700 or 1,000 people is just a full-time job to just provide even just a thank you.
Mhm.
I know that. So I think, as long as people understand, and I think, that most all casting directors that I've talked to understand the fragility of the voice actor's confidence if they don't get feedback, right? Yeah, that's all. That's all. And that goes for all sides, right? You send out, if you're a casting director and you send out, "Hey, I'm a casting director, I'd love to work with you," and you don't hear back from a new client or a production company, you're going to go, what did I do wrong? They're not hearing
Yeah.
back. And
Yeah.
99.9% of the time, it's they're like, "Oh, sorry, that got buried in an email. Sorry, I was too busy today. Sorry, I couldn't get back to it."
Yeah.
It's just it's human nature for us to go to the negative,
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
like you have to battle that, And it's funny that you say that because I've been hearing that a lot lately where people are just like, "Oh," it's that you're literally you're isolated. You're in an isolation booth, but you're also just isolated from everything about what we're hearing and, it's yeah, I've been trying to send people an email and of course, I can't do it for all 600 people, but if
No,
there were a few
no.
standouts, it's like I have been sending some emails lately where I'm like, "Hey, I loved your read on this." And they're like, "Oh, thank you so much." And I'm just trying to help. But
Well,
yeah.
and I think that's the nature of the change too, like, when you get to go in person, you may never have gotten any feedback, but you can pick up on body language, you can pick up on, you do a read and the cast director kind of cocks an eyebrow and they're like, "Oh," and you're like, "Okay, I did something that caught their attention." But a lot of times you're just, you're like, "Great, did that choice make a difference? Did that decision actually affect anything that I did so that I can continue making that choice because this choice is actually getting some kind of reaction. It might be a good choice, or this choice was actually the wrong choice. I need to stop doing that in my auditions." And you don't, and you just don't know it. So I think like, all of these things, the workouts that you guys do, the workouts that all these people do, any opportunity to get in and get education and
Yeah.
get some kind of real-time feedback is invaluable because of this loss of in-person auditions that we have. So
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
kind of a nice segue into our next question here about, well, how do you stay sharp and continue growing as a voice actor?
I stay sharp by continuing to coach and train. And the biggest thing I referenced earlier that I was failing for years at this because I didn't know that you were supposed to keep coaching. I got my demo done and I did it in Seattle. I moved to LA with a demo and went, "Great, now let's go get an agent and start working." And you go in and the very first agent I went and auditioned for, I came out of the booth and he looked at me and goes, "What the heck was that?" And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "The person on that demo is not the same person that was just in the booth."
Oh.
Because I hadn't been coaching. I hadn't trained. So, the first thing I did, and I got back into 2014 with a bunch of the great coaches in LA. You had to be in person back in 2014. There was nothing remote, and things are now remote. Um, but I really, really have pushed into the training and then into directing and producing has really been beneficial to be it from the coaching side. I learned as a massive amount from being a coach. And then the reality is that for the better part of the last 3 to 5 years, my VO career has been unfortunately the bottom priority of what I've been doing in life. Just because it's there are so many other things that have taken my time, and it's frustrating and it's hard and it's disappointing and it also means that I'm not continuing to keep my skills up the way that I would be if I'm consistently training and things along those lines. So it's been a trade-off. But I mean, the best thing you can do is to coach and to coach with multiple different people and to not get stuck into a cycle of working with one person where you're in that echo chamber of hearing the same direction. And I'll give one example of this, of why I find it's important because it was a very specific experience we had here at the studio. We had a one of the in the workout group that I've run for about 10 years. We had one talent who came in and had this consistent pattern of their reads, and we tried for the better part of 2 years to try and say something and give some direction that would break them out of it. And nothing that we communicated to them worked, and nothing that they tried made a difference. And we had a guest director come in. They read one time, and the guest director said, "Stop trying to prove things to me." And they went, "Oh, oh, okay." And that instantaneous thing changed their read because it was somebody who had never heard them before. It was direction from somebody that they had never heard before. And those 2 things combined got them out of this echo chamber, this bubble, or this cycle that they were in. And all it took was one person who they had never worked with, hearing them for the first time, to make a change that changed the course of their reads from that point forward.
That's so important. I always tell people the same thing. It's like work with as many people as you can because you might hear the same thing from 5 different people, but when you hear it from in a particular way or from a specific
Absolutely.
person, that's when it
Absolutely.
clicks.
Yep. Yep,
Yeah,
yep, yep.
yeah.
Yeah, and it could be that same thing, it could have been the exact same thing, but said differently by one person, which is what this was. None of us could put our finger on what that word was that would get through to them, and this person nailed it. So,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I love when that happens because it's just like, yeah, it's like you can hear the same thing over and over for years from the same, even couple of
yeah,
people. And
yeah,
one person comes in and says the same thing in a different way. And
yeah.
that's when the magic
Oh, I get what they're doing. Yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
happens.
Oh, that's what you meant.
What?
That's
Yep.
what you meant.
Yep.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I want to shift into talking about Nava for a little bit.
Sure.
So
Sure.
first of all, I can't imagine too many people who watch our podcast, listen to our podcast, don't know what Nava is. But can you give us just a quick background of what Nava is and what you guys do and how amazing you are?
We'll start with how amazing we are. Now, the we are the National Association of Voice Actors. We are a social impact nonprofit advocacy group that launched very specifically in 2022 to offer healthcare for freelance voice actors. That was our very specific reason for launching. And it grew out of the groups that I've had here in Los Angeles, which was the Gardner Street Workout Group, the Voiceover Collective, the Gardner Collective, that I had kind of built with Jay Preston here in Los Angeles, and then a group that Karin Gilfrey, who's our vice president, had. She started the Voice Actors of NYC in New York, and during COVID, we were both doing the same things. We were running these kind of communities in both areas, providing financial aid for voice actors, raising funds, trying to help people through the pandemic, and we were both spending 40 or $50,000 a year on funds that were going through our accounts. We were paying taxes on that. So we were like, why don't we what if we launch a nonprofit to handle these funds? And then right around that same time during the pandemic, the healthcare requirements for SAG-AFTRA changed and a massive amount of people lost their healthcare in the middle of a global pandemic. So we spent probably the better part of 3 years trying to find a way to offer healthcare for freelance voice actors. And in middle of 2022, a plan came along that we were able to get for, and that was able to get for our members, and that's what gave us the actual okay to actually launch with something that we could launch with. And then right after that, we jumped right into AI. So, so
And no stopping with that.
Exactly.
no stopping with that. No.
A
So,
battle.
yeah.
Yep. Yep.
What are some of the biggest issues Nava is currently tackling?
The biggest issues that we're dealing with right now is I'm going to say a very broad overall changing of the landscape of the artistic industry with the introduction of AI, generative AI specifically. And that's what we've been dealing with primarily on both sides of this, from the talent side of educating actors to know what to look for, from production with agents, casting directors on what do we need to look for in our contracts and our casting briefs and all these things that are coming down the line. And then working with the companies on the other side, working with these large AI companies to say, great, if you want to work with voice actors, this is why what you're doing is a problem. This is how you should work with them better. If you want to get good talent and make the best product, this is what you need to do. And no, you cannot steal people's voices. And no, you cannot just take things without permission. And no, you cannot fire somebody and replace them with an AI version of their voice, because that's just not the right thing to do. And you should stop doing that. And so that's kind of where we've been right now. And then in the very, very overarching sense of this, working on federal legislation to get protections for everybody, not just voice actors, but anybody, to protect their voice, image, name, and likeness. And this is for whether you're a professional artist or not, whether you're an actor or not. Currently in the US, nobody has protections over their voice, image, name, and likeness on a federal level. So
Mm.
Which is crazy. It's like
it's nuts. Yeah.
like that's
Yeah.
Stuff you
it's
don't think about.
who you are. Like, I mean, talk
Yeah.
about identity fraud and
Right.
stuff like that. Like that
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
insane that you don't
Yep.
have
Yeah.
protections, like that. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
how could voice actors get involved with NAVA? What do they need to do to get involved and become
Yeah.
members and all
Yeah.
that?
We've got a couple different things we do. We really wanted NAVA to be available to the general community, so most of the resources on the website are just open and available for anybody to take. So the AI education page, template contracts, AI writer, that's all available for anybody out there who wants to take them and use those.
I'm just gonna say that AI writer is incredible, and I have yet to have a client who won't sign it. So It's like we're using it all the time, and it's like, yeah, so actors, make sure you grab that, make sure your agents have it. It's like some of the agents, every time they submit their talent, they also
Yep.
send me the writer, and I'm like, "We got this, we're good."
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, if you're listening to this on Thursday, July 17th, there is an updated version on the website now. Version 4.0 is up. It's mostly just it's formatted a little easier, and it's now in Spanish. So we have a Spanish version on the website as well.
Fantastic. I
So
love that.
you can take that and download it, as long as there's also now instructions on how to use the writer for anybody
Mm.
who doesn't know why certain things are in that agreement. So if you have a client who comes back and says, I'm sorry, I can't sign clause number 3 because of this, you can say, well, actually, clause number 3 is for this specific reason, and I can't remove it because of this reason. So
Great,
Excellent.
great. I love
yeah.
that. Thank you.
And then to add, also, what I forgot is that we also offer sometimes 2 to 3 times a month community classes that are open to anybody in the community for a donation to NAVA. So if you donate, usually it's a minimum $10, and you get to sit on the class. We have Tracy Lindley, who's a voice actor in the Midwest, who is our been handling education for us for the last year and a half. Who's been doing a great job of bringing in, kind of listening to the community of what the community would like to hear, and trying to find those people to come in and do that. As far as members, we are open to all any professional voice actor, regardless of where you live in the U.S. or out of the U.S. We currently have members in, I believe, 9 or 10 countries, and we are a professional organization, and that is a requirement for us to maintain healthcare. We have to have a professional criteria in order to become a member. So we try to keep the barrier to entry low. We look for people who have had 3 paid jobs in the last year, have a website, have preferably listed on an agent's website, or if none of those things are available, can show us 3 pieces of work they've done in the last year. We know a lot of people work in private jobs that are never aired publicly. So we try and look for that, but we do have to maintain a level of professionalism in order to maintain our accreditation for healthcare. So
Great.
yeah.
Awesome.
And what are some novel wins that have happened recently that you're proud of?
Oh,
A lot of work.
man, it's been, it's
Yeah,
so
pick
it's
one.
there's been a lot of them. I think the biggest win for us, I think, overall, has just been this general change of understanding and the way that we communicate AI in the industry, across the industry, on a very tangible level. We have been out making noise and speaking very loudly on the federal level and in Sacramento. We were 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, we're in DC. We've had now, in the last year and a half, over 110 meetings with senators and congresspeople and legislators in DC. And shortly after our trip to DC, there was an AI moratorium that was in the big beautiful bill that would have prohibited states from making AI legislation for the next 10 years, and it was removed by a vote of 99 to 1. We were one of the many, many, many voices speaking up against that, but I think that little pebble makes ripples, and does have an effect on there. So that obviously was not solely our doing, but we were one of the many, many people who were boots on the ground in DC, talking to politicians face to face, and saying, this is why we think this needs to go, and this is our concern with it. So,
That's excellent.
It's amazing. Yeah. So we've already kind of touched on, you do a million things every day.
yeah.
Where you wear all the hats. How how do you keep your sanity through it all? How do you manage all of that? It's like, yeah, what
Midlife crisis. Let's go with that. Um, you know,
you just want to buy
um,
a fancy car?
yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, it's very interesting. I think it comes from, I've always been somebody who's wanted to do something that makes a difference. And my grandparents side, great grandparents side, they were activists in New York in the 20s and 30s, working in politics in New York. My great aunt was a politician in the Lower East Side for years. My great grandparents and everybody were at marches and protests, and my parents were at the March on Washington. And I kind of grew up in a world that had that advocacy in it. My dad's side of the family is all educators. I was a teacher for 10 years. Um, and it's always been a part of what I've done. I was drum major in high school. I was always the one leading things. I was the one who would read everything out loud in class, always somebody who did those things. But I say midlife crisis in kind of, kind of half joking, but at 40, I went back to grad school. I got into voiceover full time. So anybody who says they're too late to do this, I just turned 51. I've only been in voiceover full time for less than 10 years. So, part of this is that, I spent a lot of time in LA kind of struggling and not doing the things that I wanted to do and not living a life I wanted to live. And so I want to make sure that I am literally doing as much experiencing as much as I can every single day. And sometimes it's experiencing things that are frustrating and sometimes it's exhausting. But to be in a position to try to make change and then seeing that change actually happening is very energizing and very empowering and also frustrating and exciting, and also there was this realization that I know that there is a short window that we currently have, not to be, too much hyperbole here, but with the course of humanity is changing with regards to artistic and integrity and arts, and that everybody who is out there right now is what happens over the last couple of years and over probably the next 2 years is going to change the course of how humans interact with art and entertainment and media and information and reality and facts and history, and that we're in a place where we are affecting that, and it is and it's not even, I was gonna say it is a, um I'd say I'm giving up my life to do this, but I'm not by any means. This is the easiest thing I've ever done, and it's the most fun that I have had, and the most exhausting. I mean, I literally, I went to DC and then I came home and was sick for 5 days. I literally slept for 5 days after, a 22-day run of without a day off. But, like that's I wanna pack in as much into every single day that I can, and that's what I'm doing. I'd love to be booking more jobs within that packed day so that I can pay my bills, but, like, all of these things that we're doing are vitally important, and if it's not us, then it would have to be somebody, and I'm happy that it's us, and we're happy to do it. So,
We're happy that
uh,
it's you too.
go. Thank you,
Yes,
thank you.
thank you. Yeah, it's and you can just the way you talk about it, it's like
Mm,
we can see the passion and the drive, and it's like that we can hear and feel that energy, and I love
thank you.
that. I love that. It makes a
Good.
huge difference when you're doing something that you truly believe in and that you truly
Yeah,
love, and it's
yeah,
like then feels a little less like work all the time.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
Gets
and
over the frustrating and the
yeah,
and the
yeah,
difficult
exactly.
challenges.
Exactly. Well, and to go back just slightly, like I did reference earlier that kind of my actual time in the booth has diminished, and I kind of joked around and alluded to it, but what that's okay, because what I really love to do is to help get people who their life blood is to be in that booth. I want to make sure they can stay in that booth. I wanna make sure that that's what they can really do, and while I truly love my time in the booth and while I get to spend in there, it's not what drives me the way that it drives other people, and so I want to make sure that those who are driven to be in that booth and who wanna have this career going forward can continue to do that. That's what I love to do, and I love to be in the booth as well and doing those jobs and reading and doing those things, but to be able to continue to have this industry, and when I say industry, I'd say artistic industry, so voiceover, on camera, music, poetry, news reporters, all of these things that are out there, to continue for these people to be able to continue to do those things. That's what I really, really love about this.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah, it's your love for it and the fact that you're supporting so many other
Yeah,
people. It's like you have the passion, but you're also supporting so many other people and, helping them. Yeah, thank you. I keep saying
yeah,
thank
yeah.
you.
No. No problem. But we love it when we do this, and it is what we all enjoy to do. And I say that it's myself, Karen Gilfrey, who's our vice president, uh, Matthew Parham, who's our director of operations, all of our board members who do this. Kayla Pitts, who is one of our kind of unsung heroes in this, who handles all of our social media and our graphics. And Jen Wong, who helps with our website, and all of these things that we have grown so exponentially. My goal was within the first 3 years to hit maybe 400 members in NAVA. And at the end of 16 months, we were at 1,200 members.
Wow.
And we're currently at 1,500 with a goal of trying to get to 2,000 by the end of the year. But that is exponentially larger than anything that we had, than any of our intentions, right? But it takes all of those people to support what we do so that we can all do this together.
So, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Number one, don't be a dick. Just don't.
Yes.
Good
Thank you.
You know, I think people underestimate the value of being nice, and I'm gonna steal, like, if you haven't seen I haven't seen Superman yet, but like, being nice is punk rock. Like, we can go out there and um, and take that chance on being. It's easy to be angry and mean and bitter and upset. It's very hard to be a nice person sometimes in places where it's not easy to be nice. So just don't be a dick. Um, and honestly, I really don't. Everything else kind of falls under that category, Um, but I think anything else beyond that is just so personal to people's different experiences. So, like, none of my advice, the advice I've received, is not going to be the best advice for somebody else, except that I think being nice goes a long way. And for all of us in LA, I think it is you learn that the people who are really nice are the ones who are successful, and that you're more likely to get somewhere by being a nice person. You still have to be the best at what you do.
Mhm.
Can't just be nice. You have to be really, really good at what you do. But otherwise, like, that's it. And trust yourself, be authentic, believe that your perspective is important, that what all those little things are, but those are all variable. Like, some different people may already feel that perspective is valuable, and that it's already important, So, but that's it. Don't be a dick.
Yeah. I love that. I love that.
So true.
So good. Um, so outside of that, is there anything else that you would say to somebody who's just getting started?
If this is something that you want to do, then do it. Trust this is what you want to do, and vice versa. If this is not something you want to do, it's okay to quit. This is going to go back slightly to this education thing we talked about earlier, but I think there are a lot of people that get sucked into a program where they've invested a lot of money, and they feel they have to continue doing something even if they don't like it and they're not good at it. So it is okay to quit. Quitting is not a failure. It's an opportunity to go and find something that you really want to do. And if this isn't the right industry for you, if this isn't the right thing that you want to do, then don't do it.
Yeah. Sometimes you don't know until you try.
Exactly, absolutely. And like, getting into these opportunities to try is what is going to tell you whether you
Yeah.
want to continue doing this or not. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
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 And how many people, have degrees, college degrees who
Right.
by the time they're 40, they're not using them it's like they're like,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I went to
Yeah.
college for education and then I was a teacher for 10 years, decided I didn't want to be a teacher and I moved on, and it's like,
Yeah, I got my undergrad degree is in clarinet performance. So I got my undergrad in clarinet I came to LA, I played music for a long time, but then I went back to grad school, got my master's in music education in August of 2016, and went into voiceover full time in August of 2016.
There you go.
So it was, just
yeah.
completely different directions, so
And you have a band as well, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Yep.
yeah, we didn't even talk about that and how you manage that in your schedule.
Yep, throw that in. So, like, this last in June, we had 22 days straight. We had a show, had a performance with the band, had 12 hours off. Sorry, no, we had a tour with the band. We did a 2-day tour, had 12 hours off, flew out to a conference, came back, had a show on the Friday, flew out to DC for a week, came back, did a show on a Friday, and then tried to throw that all in, because these are the things that we love to do. And it's myself and Matthew. So
We're never gonna
Matthew,
get bored.
never gonna get bored. I get exhausted, get burned out, and absolutely just destroy myself. But yeah, Matthew, our part of my director of operations, is in my group. That's how we met. And he got into voiceover through the band. He was here. Um, He was an MC. He's been in the MC in my band for about 10 years, and came in to do a recording session here in the studio of the band, and the band was late, and I had copy on the stand, and he walked in and was joking around and started to read the copy, and I was like, "Oh, man, you don't suck." And that was literally how he got into voiceover.
We love
That's
And
that.
you're not
Yeah.
a
yeah,
dick. Like,
yeah,
do
yeah,
this.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, you don't suck, you're not a dick. Yeah, yeah.
Perfect. No, we love Matthew. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
And talk about like somebody who has who fell into something that just never thought they were going to do. Like, you don't know if this is something you're gonna connect with. He walked in literally as a joke, was reading an audition copy that I had left on the stand before a session, and I was like, "Holy cow." That I literally said, "Wow, you don't suck." But then the next thing was, "Have you should train into this, and maybe if something you wanna do, like, is get some coaching." And that was 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago.
He's rocking it.
Yeah.
He's killing
Yeah.
it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yep.
It's funny how things like that happen, you just kinda know
Oh, yeah,
it's
yeah,
meant to be in situations like that. Life just kinda
yeah, yeah,
takes you where it's
Mhm.
gonna take you.
absolutely, and you don't know, and I'm gonna say, this is, like, one of my other weird philosophies is, like, it's okay to, to follow your dreams and have dreams and go for those, but also follow your success. Some people are so focused on doing the things that they wanna do, they don't realize that they're being successful in something that they had never thought they were gonna be successful in. So, be okay to follow that success,
I love
you know?
that.
So
Yeah, yeah. And dreams change, it's like then
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
things will adjust, I've seen so many people who are like they keep following their dream because it's like, "Oh, this has always been my dream, so I gotta keep working towards that." I put a lot of time and money into it, and it's like, yeah, but dreams what you wanted yesterday could be different today, so
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yep.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna do a fun little speed round. We're just
Uh-oh.
gonna throw a couple
Yeah.
questions at you and see what comes out. Um, so name one thing in your booth that you can't live without.
Lights.
It helps to see.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot easier to read the copy when
Copy.
it's
The funny thing is, I know people who like to turn off the lights, like if they're reading on a
Right.
like tablet
Oh,
or
yeah, yeah.
phone or whatever, then they're like,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely dark.
I'll go with air conditioning as well then. We'll go more practical for
very
LA. So air conditioning. Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Yep, yep,
for
yep.
sure. Oh my god.
What is your go-to audition ritual or superstition?
I'd have none. I have none.
You don't have to
Um,
like turn
mm.
this knob 3 times and then
No, no.
okay.
Well, I will go to slight. This is a slight change in this push for authenticity and realism and perspective on this is, if I'm gonna have a conversation with somebody, I'm not gonna prepare for it. I'm gonna pull up and have this conversation. So I try and bring that same idea to the copy, which is this is just a part of my normal conversation I'm gonna do. If I have warm ups that I'll do if I'm doing some video game stuff where I know I've got some shouting or I've got something that's really specific, I will do some kind of warm up stuff. But I don't have a ritual or superstitions or maybe I do and I just don't know it. I'll have to pay attention now and see what I do. You
We'll
know.
do a follow-up.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. I'll check in with you in a couple of days. I'll let you know what I
Great.
find out. So,
I've noticed that I do that.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Yep.
All right, and now I'm gonna have you finish this
Mm,
sentence.
sure,
The
sure.
future of voiceover is
Unwritten.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And you know what? You didn't go I feel like so often people go dark with that,
Mm,
where it's like, yeah, there's so many ways you can go with that. Unwritten
absolutely.
is
Yeah.
beautiful
Yeah.
because it's like,
Yeah.
we don't know what's gonna happen. I love
Mhm.
that.
No, not a
Exactly.
clue.
And then to wrap it up, where can people learn more about Nava or connect with you?
NAVAvoices.org. And if you literally just look up Nava Voices anywhere on the internet, you will find that. TimFriedlander.com, and Friedlander spelled like Friedlander. And then my studios, soundbox.la. It's all of our studios. And we've been, trying to also do voiceover, run those businesses, run the voiceover resource guide as well with Jay. Studios, we've got 5 studios now around the country and trying to just offer up spaces for talent to do these things. And then, yeah, the Vorg, voiceoverresourceguide.com or thevorg.com. I'm trying to think of what else. But yeah, NAVA is NAVA Voices everywhere. All social media, NAVAvoices.org, NAVA Voices on Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff. So
We will link all of that for all of you. So
awesome.
we'll have the
Yeah.
list, and
Yeah.
you'll be able to find Tim. Just Google
Yeah. Just
Friedlander
Google my
and
name.
all over with
Yep.
everything.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for
Yeah.
joining us today, Tim.
Thank you. Thank you.
And
It's a pleasure.
thank you for everything that you're doing.
Yeah,
It
you're welcome.
is truly incredible, and the whole industry is so lucky to have you.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Thank you. I'm lucky to be a part of this whole thing. So this is great.
Catch our next Voiceover Casting Corner episode live on Facebook and YouTube. Check our socials or follow us for the latest info. Thanks for listening.